white men going into Michigan Capitol building.
Yeah.
And you saw the officers all in masks, all just calm, didn't do anything, while these people walked into the Capitol building with no mask on, which now makes their bodies lethal weapons because somebody could be carrying the COVID-19. You're yelling in this guy's face, an officer who might have kids. As soon as I saw that, the first thing came to my mind was, when these guys showed up at Ferguson, they showed up with masks, military equipment, everything. So just with the Second Amendment alone, we do not share that in this country. We like to convince ourselves, yeah, I have this freedom, do this and that, but everybody don't have that OJ freedom. And he had the money to have that OJ freedom. Now that's the Second Amendment. Your First Amendment is your freedom of speech. Let's keep it 100. You can turn the Fox Network News right now, and I'm guarantee you, Laura Ingraham, Sean Hannity, all these guys are talking about how we have freedom. You can't have us locked in our doors. Get the country back. Get the country back. Get the country back. But there's only 3 people who've lost their job, Black women: Candace Owens and the other 2 girls. I forgot their name. They're full-figured women. That's always I don't know why I can't think of their names right now. Right. But they got fired from Fox. Candace Owens got fired from Fox because they blame Candace Owens for triggering the movement in Michigan. So you trying to tell me 200, 300 white people show up at the state capitol building because of a young Black girl's voice, Candace Owens? So anytime they ready, I feel like anytime the powers that be, what element is ready to pick and choose who they want to throw under the bus, it's always us. Ooh. Yeah. Ooh. That's a rap song. Yeah. They always throw us under the bus.
It's the truth, though. It's the truth, though. And a lot of people don't listen.
It's the elephant in the room, because when you talk amongst Black people, they are not having that conversation before they walk on stage. Spotlights, cameras, you see it on CNN all the time, MSNBC. Every time one of them Black people say something that's foul or left, you don't see them no more. They don't know how to speak or talk, and they all want to talk bad about all the dudes who opened the doors for them. So it's like, you just got to know how to move in the matrix. This shit is the matrix.
Yes, very much so. Very much so. Red or blue pill.
Facts.
Yeah.
Facts. You guys excuse me with the straw and the wine. It's a Sunday. You can do Elton John things on Sunday.
With your pinky up. You're so silly.
You can do them Elton John things on Sunday, man. So that's how I feel about First Amendment, Second Amendment. It is what it is. I appreciate you listening to me and Denny live yesterday. That was cool. And you know what's crazy? And I don't mean to take your interview up. I'm gonna let you.
No, we gonna get to it. Come on.
It's like this whole thing where we're now communicating through Zoom, BeLive, QTV, and all these other streaming services. I feel like, honestly, that a lot of the entertainers who are not gravitating towards it and understanding that this is a business and this might be the new norm. I don't see comedy clubs and stuff opening up. And if they do open up, I really do see like maybe 300-seaters saying, okay, it's going to be 150-seater because we're going to put space in between everybody. That's what, I could be wrong. But at the same time, you got government officials. You have government officials. Let's take Atlanta for example. The governor in Georgia he lives in the governor's mansion, which allows people to come, tourists who are visiting Georgia, to come through his house and see what it looks like. Just like the White House. They have tourists. He lives there, but they have sections in there for you to come into, because it's paid by taxpayers. It's not his home. He's only living there for 4 years through his term. You go to his website, he had it it's closed. And it says, we're not letting anybody in for healthy and safety reasons because of COVID-19. But barbershops, gyms, tattoo parlors are all open. So I feel like people who are listening to, if the government give them permission to go into these mouse traps, it's okay. It's almost like I just don't see how people have brains anymore. Either we need to get rid of public education or get rid of Black churches. Something is not right where people are just making decisions based off of fucking idiocy. And don't
even get you started right now. It's okay. Get it off your chest.
I'm having a Morgan Freeman, Malcolm X moment.
Listen, but this is what's happening in the world. You know what I mean? And people need to talk about it. People need to get this shit out, because a lot of people are not, and a lot of people only believe what they see in the news to be true, to be accurate, to be 100. In that situation where you can't go into the governor's mansion, but Black businesses, and I don't mean owned by Black people, I mean the businesses that Black people patron, I can't even get the word out.
Patronize.
Thank you. I've been drinking. I'm sorry.
So we can switch it. I got a lot of words I struggle with. Go ahead.
I shouldn't even let the world see that, but I'm real. Those are the businesses that you see open. You don't see Starbucks open. You don't see bookstores. You don't see smoothie places. You know what I mean? Stuff of that nature.
In Georgia, or are you just talking about all over?
I'm talking about all over, but there too. I don't think that those same things were open. Free will, things that a white person might be more freely to be at. Say you might more freely see a white person at a yoga place, or like a Soul Cycle or someplace like that, as opposed to some of the other things. So a barbershop, you know what I mean? Beauty supplies, things it's not the same.
I think it's more of a green thing more than a black and white thing. Now, it's easy to always look at everything black and white, because sometimes it is black and white. When you see redlining on these loans where people are not getting fair loans to buy their own homes, there's documentaries and documentaries and movies that show you how banks did not give people the same loans. That's why other Americans have such a head start and able to pass down their homes that they purchased, because if you own land, period, in this country, owning land, you can just about go to the bank and say, hey, I want to remortgage my house. This is what I own, so I want to buy a boat. And you'll constantly get credit to live that American dream, white fence and all. But without that credit, or without saying that you have capital, it's very hard to maintain in a capitalist society, right? So we have these documentaries, and we have all the education and the facts that states that we were not getting these things. So here we are today. Everything can be black and white. We know that the airplane, what was the black, oh my gosh, that was fought in the war on the planes. I can't think of their name right now. The
Tuskegee Airmen.
See, I told you it was eventually gonna happen, that I was gonna fuck up a word and you was gonna have to save me like I had to save your ass. It's just
and I thank you.
It's gonna be a public education fucking embarrassment going on. But
it's okay. Listen, this morning I'm going to blame it on the alcohol. Okay, it's afternoon. I'm going to blame it.
No, we ain't blaming on alcohol. We blaming public education, goddammit. And the teachers who just was in there teaching with nothing but high school. You know how that is. So anyway, so we know the Tuskegee Airmen. We know that they were given syphilis. We know that people have been experiments. So some things are black and white. But this right here, this is about green. This is about the old boys club who own everything. And they know that we cannot go another 2 months without businesses not being open.
Right.
And we already know that seniors are being attacked. And we know that minorities who have these health conditions are being attacked. So let's open up businesses and let's work around that, which means no seniors unless it's this time, or no seniors at all, only kids, because they feel like they could sustain if you got people in there 21 and under. So a part of me, if I owned a restaurant, I get that. I get that I need to get this open.
Right.
And you know, I'm gonna do everything I can to keep my family safe. Whoever comes in here and buy my stuff, I can't worry about that because I'm gonna lose my business. The more and more I start to see this, I'm starting to realize I see how slavery was hard to end, number one, and why it existed the way it did, because it wasn't so much about the human factor more than it was the capitalist factor. It was about money and losing money. That's why when the Civil War ended, most of the owners, slave owners, they all was taken care of by government. They did trillions of dollars for their loss. And the slaves weren't able to get anything, because I believe it's either Andrew Jackson or Andrew Johnson. Don't quote me. I'm paraphrasing. One of those guys went in and they completely said, you know, we're not going to do the 40 acres in the mill. Everything that Abe Lincoln had in place, they stripped it. So we never really got a fair bargain And so many people, other Americans got such a leg up because it's a capitalist society. So
Mm-hmm.
now that we know it's a capitalist society, that's another elephant in the room with Black folks that we don't talk about. Do we discuss the capitalism and how we need to put our resources together?
We should, and we don't. We should and we don't. And then even with the mindset of us working together, it's something that has been shaped and molded by other people and built in us to not come together. That's been instilled in us for, even being of the same race, for you to envy your counterpart, you know what I mean, as opposed to look at this person as an equal and help to build together.
That's facts, because a lot of Black people, they quote and recycle talking points saying that Black people don't get along. We spend all our money on Jordans. We spend our money on iPhones. Let me tell you something. That's not real money.
Mm-hmm.
People who are going to buy little things like that, when you live in buildings stacked on top of each other, or you don't have a good job, or you didn't finish school, or you watch your circumstances for which you live in, if the only thing that's going to make you feel good is to shop, you understand what I'm saying? It's going to make you feel good for this moment, then hey, go ahead and do it. Everybody does that. They shop when they want to. Come on, that's what everyone does. They shop because they want to feel good. Now, is there a place where we can say, hey, let's put our money together so we can go buy land and stocks and stuff like that? Where do you get that from? It's not being taught in school. The church is not touching it. You understand what I'm saying? And I don't want to keep attacking those entities, but I just realized for me, growing up in the Midwest under one parent, a single home, my mother did the best she could, taking me to church and making sure I went to school and stay out of trouble. So everything I know is from those two entities. So when I try to think of what was taught to me and what wasn't taught to me, I can't help but think of, this didn't happen in the church, this didn't happen in school, and my mother couldn't do it because she was too busy trying to feed us. So where was it going to come from?
Right.
So now I'm trying to catch up now. Like I'm constantly Googling, trying to do this. I tell my kids, they're like, yo, there's no excuse for you not to have the proper information in today's time. With Google, you can Google any and everything.
Mm-hmm.
I was just watching this show on Netflix called Fauda that deals with the Jewish, the Palestinians and then Israel. And they was dealing with something on the Gaza Strip, and I wanted to Google Gaza, and it took Google a minute. And then I thought about it. I came up out of it because last thing I want is for my name to be associated with any algorithms that could be associated with anything that may
That's exactly what's going on.
That may look suspect when it's dealing with that. Because I was just trying to get information, but somebody could look at that and be misled. Like, what is he trying to do? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting. I'm sorry. I'm getting hit by these guys. All right. Never mind. You good. He just, everybody last minute.
That's fine.
I was last minute too, because I was like, I gotta get in the room, I gotta do the interview, and then I was in here sweating like crazy, and then I need to it's a Keenan Ivory Wayans moment, ain't nothing but underwear and a shirt on, so I was like, I didn't know what, I was in here totally like, what shirt should I put on? It's a shame that that's what we're doing on Zoom now.
Listen, I got on the tank top, and I was like, let me just grab something real quick. Like, okay, there you go. I'm the same way. My kids be laughing at me because my kids will come downstairs, and I'm in the dining room. So when you come down my steps, you come in pretty much into the dining room. They're staying back looking at me. Where your pants at? Why you in your drawers? I'll be like, but they can only see me from. Does anybody know in my drawers?
Yeah, think about it. By the time this whole thing is over with, everybody's gonna have a closet full of shirts and no pants, because that's the only thing we changing now. I don't need a pant. I don't need no pant. I was cleaning up the other day. I said, why I got so many shoes? Now that I'm not even physically going outside, like I'm realizing how much money I just wasted on dumb shit.
You got stuff in there you probably haven't even worn.
I do. Mm-hmm. I do because I you know what? Because of doing shows, for me, I'm an old school dude. So for me, I'm not going to say old school. I'm just come from a different era where show business meant show business. So I'm not the type to go on stage looking any kind of way.
Yeah.
So if I had a show, if the show paid $1,000, then I would deduct, a bill $50 or $200 on the outfit and get it back in taxes.
That's smart.
You understand? Because that's the business we're in. Easy pass, all that. You get your money back at the end of the year, but I'm investing in what I'm doing. Last thing I need to have is people pay money to come see me look like I just walked off the street. So I'm from that generation of show business. Now these guys, I don't understand it, but I accept it. they go on stage and they go, fuck that, you just need to be funny. And the numbers prove them right. They don't care what you look like. If you go to BET and look at any of them videos from I'll say 15 years ago, everybody had a Steve Harvey look.
Yeah.
That went on BET. It was all about a suit. Fuck the jokes. Everybody was all about the suit, their hair, their neck. It was some real bougie ass shit, man, that was going that was on BET. It was bougie.
Now, I can tell you though, I am a fan of seeing a man in a suit on stage. And maybe because I grew up in that area watching that, but like it's certain dudes that when they step out, I'm like, yeah, Don DC Curry come out with the smoker's jacket and motherfucking kill it. You know what I mean? And who else got hella style?
Even when D.L. Hughley dressed down.
Yes, that was going to be my next one.
Even when he dressed down, he's on top. He still look good.
Prince.
He still look good. And he's from, I love D.L. He's from that. I think DL, I told DL this not too long ago. I worked with DL and I told him we was in the green room kicking it. But like it was a good hour we was kicking it. He was dropping jewels like crazy. And I said, man, I want to thank you first of all, DL, for being on the front line. And he understood exactly what I was saying. I said, because this is a guy who I watched. He had a CNN show. Then I started watching him go on Fox. He's writing books. All through Obama presidency, he was going, making sure he was in front of the camera talking about the videos we were seeing of children being killed. And he just stayed on point. Now, as a comic, you hear this shit all the time. Most comics say all the time, listen, you need to be funny. You ain't no politician. You don't need to do that. Only a couple cats can do that. I'm like, all right, I think everybody needs to stop telling what other people need to do or should do and just be yourself. So DL, the type of dude, if you in a room with him, he's going to be talking about social issues any fucking way.
Right.
His art, what makes him so brilliant at it, he can take a sad moment and make it funny. Where I wouldn't even touch Bill Cosby. But DL Hughley starts to show off. As soon as he goes on stage, he goes, oh, but 2020 has been crazy. You would have never told me that Suge Knight and Bill Cosby will be in the same prison. And everybody's dying, and it's fucked up, but it's true. I'm like, yo, this guy, this is why I love, because I would never have been able to write something like that or touch Bill Cosby, because a part of me kind of feel like, why kick a man while he's down? Bill Cosby is going to catch it anyway from everybody. The last thing he needs is me to go in there and get a kick. It's almost like, you ever remember back in the days in the hood, niggas would get jumped?
Yes.
Like, it started off one-on-one, and then once that one guy go down, then it's like a bunch of hyenas just jump on him, and they don't even care. Kick him in the face, throw a trash can on his head. I mean, we've seen it all in urban hoods.
Yeah. I
feel like that's Cosby right now with the society. Was just like, yo, you did this to these women. You're guilty in the eyes of the public. And once we find you guilty in court, it's a wrap. And he's just down there doing this while he's just getting kicked. I just don't want to be the guy. Unfortunately, I just don't want to be a guy to have my foot land on his face as well.
I mean, so then would it be so much that you're not at that phase of your career where you can, or is it just the fact that no matter how big you get, that's the type of man you are, you're never going to be that way?
It's who Marlon Randolph is.
Yeah.
And I accept that. It took a minute, because I used to beat myself up on, and this goes back to what we started out talking about on what you should say or not say. It should just be funny. And I've realized I had to accept that not only I'm sensitive, I'm emotional, like me and Denny Lab talked about yesterday, but I'm caring. So I have to just be me and allow people to take that ride and accept me for who I am. Anybody else who don't like it, fuck them. I can't pick and choose who I want to like me or laugh if they don't think I'm funny or if they think I'm interesting or whatever. It's my platform. I do what I want with it. And it is what it is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, 150%. Yeah.
and I just have to rock with it like that. It's easy for me to do nigga shit. It's mad easy for me to sit up and go on stage, grab a mic, and just, and talk about how somebody looked like Florida Evans, or talk about how white women got good credit and black women don't. I mean, what am I doing? What am I doing? Am I contributing to bullshit? Because these talking points and stereotypes that hurt us everywhere, where, you got guys who don't even look at black women with respect. You see videos where a black woman get punched in the face by a dude at McDonald's, and all the young black kids is just watching and pulling their phones out. So I'm going to contribute to that shit by by making these jokes. Like for me, there's got to be a line in this shit. You just can't say any and everything and just think that it's okay. I can't sleep at night with that shit.
Yeah. I understand that. I understand that. You got to be true to yourself, whether you on stage or off. That's the only way any of this shit works.
Chris Rock, brilliant. Dave Chappelle, those guys are able to bring social issues to light and make it fucking funny. And that's where I think, for me, I want to start focusing on. I want to focus on how do I take a sad situation and get people to laugh at it? Because at the end of the day, people do not pay to come to be sad. They pay for comedians to take them away from the sad shit.
Right.
And I always have to remember that. Even as we're doing this interview, it's not a lot of laughter, and I apologize for that. But I'm being myself right now. So it's Sunday. It's 4 o'clock. You know what I mean? Everybody went to church today. I watched a little movie. I got my little Zinfandel. It's an Elton John moment. Don't fuck with me.
No bullshit. Ain't nobody messing with you. Your Zinfandel, your salt baths, none of that shit.
You about to make me spit my shit out and fuck up my computer. Stab me.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, but thank you. Like I've enjoyed. You've enjoyed it. Seem like you got some shit up off your chest.
I mean, I always enjoy kicking it with you. I think you're great at what you do. And you know, that's why I talk to my team, and I want to bring. That's why, you know, the Facebook Live thing I do. I want you to. I want to. We're going to talk offset about it. I really think it's something you might fit in really good with. It's just that I have to go through 2 other guys.
No worries. Thank you. I appreciate it.
And and the After Dark, that's something that. Let me be quiet because I know you're gonna be airing this, and then it's gonna be people taking my ideas. Somebody already doing my game show on Instagram, right? On Fridays. I'm not gonna say no names. They doing my game show Friday nights at 10 o'clock.
The Black Trivia?
Yep.
Yeah. So I think I saw that the other day. I think I did, and I was like, oh.
This is a dirty business, man.
Very.
The comedy game is dirty as fuck, yo. The comedy game gotta be one of the dirtiest games I've ever seen. Thank God, man. And thank all that I'm not an insecure male. That anytime I ever felt like anything was taken from me, I never lost any sleep on it because I'm constantly creating. When one idea appears, another idea appears. Yeah. And I have to realize the successful ideas are always gonna come from whoever created them. So he can have that, but that shit right there, that shit's from my heart. He the one that's gonna have to, you know, when he see me, he don't want to have to, you know, he's got to live with that. And I had it happen before. It's all good.
But you know what, though? At the end of the day, somebody can maybe take something from you, but they can't be you exactly delivering it. Like there could be 100 people that might come and now talk about sex, talk about relationships, this, that, and the third with comedians. But at the end of the day, you can't be T. Gray. No matter how much you talk about it, you can never be T. Gray.
Right.
What I mean? So it's one of those things that, you know, I can appreciate it from afar because it does show admiration to a certain extent. But at the same time, go and do your little thing. You ain't gonna be me doing it out. You know,
and you got a lot of good, but you know what, T? But you got a lot of comics that fuck with you who would not fuck with a lot of other people. So that says a lot about your reputation, and that says a lot about you being good at what you do. And if someone does start it, it might not have the same takeoff because it will take a comic to kind of go, hey, I just did something like this with T. Gray. This don't feel right. This don't seem right. But see, that's where capitalism gets in the way because somebody can hand them a check and then all that loyalty goes out the window fast. And I understand that part too because we don't know what's in people's refrigerators.
Right.
So I'm not here to judge anybody's bank account. I don't do that. You feel me? So I get that part. But when money is not involved, integrity has to mean something. And everyone doesn't have it.
Most definitely. But you would think that going through this coronavirus and being quarantined, that people maybe will kind of get to where they can kind of humble themselves, especially people who may, you know, choose to be greedy or choose to be more takers than givers or whatever the case may be. But only time will tell whether that happened or not.
I've realized that people just don't give a fuck, T. Gray. They don't.
Yeah, that's true. True.
I used to always do this thing where, and I went through this arguing for years with my kids' mothers, where I always felt like You know, it just makes sense if they're able to see us either be civil or see us together, and they will always look at it as if I was trying to get back with them. They didn't see it the way I saw it, and then it just took me years of understanding that no matter how much common sense you think is common to you, doesn't mean that it's right. And that's what we're seeing play out throughout the country. When you have people create alternative facts instead of it just being facts, or you have a president that's able to get away with just about anything, and we're still sitting here debating whether or not Joe Biden is our guy. No matter who's going up against this guy that's in the White House, their record don't touch his. There's a lady that's, her name Tiara, who says that he did something to her in 1993, and people are discussing whether or not. Let me tell you something. Obama was the first Black president who was wiping out all his competition. You trying to tell me when he chose Biden to be his vice president, nobody in this country was able to find this woman who said that Biden stuck his finger in her in 1993?
Right.
And he was able to serve a vice president for 8 years, which means that if something happened to the first Black president, which everybody thought was going to happen, which would have put Biden in the power seat, in the Oval Office, you trying to tell me for them 8 years, this woman did not come up and say anything, but now she said something, and now we all of a sudden need to sit down and think about this before we put him in office? That goes back to how people, you're in the matrix, man. The shit you see and the shit you hear is not real. And you always got to be careful.
Real talk. Real talk. Well, you just laid it on the people. You just laid it on the people, okay? I'm just going to come back through with the broom and dust the stage off, okay?
I was watching you had Godfrey, love Godfrey, man. I love watching Godfrey on Vlad TV. He's such a talented guy, and I'm glad he's getting some kind of shine. But watching Godfrey, man, I've been watching Godfrey for years. I don't know if Godfrey don't really remember me because I live here, but I don't do that. He and I are not in the same circuit. He's in the mainstream circuit in Manhattan, so you can catch him at the Cellar and stuff like that, and he's traveling doing the club. I've just been pretty much doing a lot of the nigga shit.
Okay.
Yeah.
And to your roots, okay.
Yeah, and I have more control over what I like to do when I'm in that element. I can go into places and create these places into the comedy club I want them to be, and that's to each his own. But I really love Godfrey, and you know what? On Vlad TV, Vlad, TK, and DL has really, with that new platform that Vlad has created, they have been taking it to heights with the First Amendment that usually you don't hear from Black men.
Yes. So I don't know if you saw the interview in its entirety because it's actually a 40-minute interview. It is up on my YouTube, guys. But it was just dynamic. And of the men you just named that, I've been able to have these people on my show, TK Kirkland, I'm going to be putting his out once the pandemic is over, but just great conversations, you know what I mean? Learning a lot. I like that they can push the envelope. I like how they take it, and I love the educational piece. And Godfrey just started out with, well, this is a situation that the white man put us in. I'm like, you know what?
These guys are taking the risk that I never would have thought that. I've known TK almost 30 years. TK has never touched social issues. Mm-hmm. He's gone there. He has jumped on that train. Mm-hmm. A lot of these guys, I think that either 50 or a little bit above 50, they're at a point now where they kind of, I can't say what they feel. I don't know, but I'm loving what I hear. For me to say what they think or feel will be outside of my pay grade, but I love what I hear from these guys. I really do.
Yeah, most definitely. Good, strong brothers can always learn something from. But I'm gonna go ahead and end my interview. I hate to because all this good knowledge, had a full-on Marlon Randolph rant.
Hey, well, I appreciate you. Thank you, T. Gray.
Oh yeah, no doubt. So thank you so much for being a part of the Love Below.
To all your people out there, man, holla at me, Marlon Randolph on Instagram. It's not a ton of followers, but it's worth following because when I do put something out there, it's worth it, man. And T. Gray was a co-host with me on the show that I do on Saturday mornings. I know a lot of people not up that early, so the numbers I don't expect to be crazy. It's a good 20 people by the time it's done. It's 60 that look at it and viewed it. And to me, if you're just doing 60 people in a comedy club, that's a packed show inside of a small comedy club. So for Saturday 11, you got to look at, you have to look at the graph on that for Saturday 11 o'clock in the morning when a lot of people were out on Friday. I'm happy about those numbers. And we're going to start a staff meeting after dark where we can talk more about sex. We can talk more about what men expect, what they don't like. I'm going to be bringing T. Gray in on that as well. I love our energy, man. So make sure y'all support her and make sure y'all holler at me, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
All right, sister.